Something has got to start back at one. However, the only difference between the master and the novice is the master has failed more than the novice has even tried. So if you ask me, starting back at one is never a bad thing. It means you're getting closer and closer to the final thing. And is there ever finality, or is finality just when we're no longer here? Speaking of no longer here and meaninglessness or meaningfulness, Cat's Cradle was coming through Vonnegut's book, where he is talking, I made a footnote on it. He is talking about the emptiness of the heart of humanity and the danger of focusing on measured, calculated progress without considering the emotional and therefore social implications and issues that will arise in society. In other words, people are becoming more heartless and disconnected and dissociated, which creates impulsivity. It creates reactivity, which I just talked about in the last message, saying, where'd all the good people go? So this is kind of a continuation of the other messages I didn't get to finish out in that one. Someone here is really having to take a good hard look in the mirror because they were blaming and projecting onto you all of their insecurities, all of the areas where they hate themselves, all of the areas where they are just heartless and empty, and where they were following a calculated, measured response in life, and they were trying to say that they were of God, but God is not some calculated, scientific, measured thing. He's a felt thing. Our God is a relational God. In fact, I think it's hilarious when people ask me about Christianity, because the true definition of a Christian is someone who walks with Jesus Christ, someone who has a relationship with Jesus Christ. It is not someone who is a robot who follows dogmatic rules, but behind the scenes they're doing nefarious things, looking up gosh knows what on their internet browser or hiding it in other browsers and or burner phones and all that. So yeah, just okay. So after Cat's Cradle, that book was also banned because it was controversial, because again, it was speaking to the issues of science and of following certain ordered structurally things when we are a feeling species and our heart is our most healing and most powerful aspect of us, the heart of a person. And we are so disconnected from our hearts. Also, when your strangers are your biggest supporters, it really shows you what the people in your life think about you. I personally have been experiencing this a lot lately, and I'm like, dang, this is what support feels like? This is amazing. So basically, no one who's known me actually supports me. They're all just snakes and fakes because these new people actually see me from the get-go for my heart and see me from the get-go for who I am. And that only happens by you turning your back on what other people expect of you and turning your heart towards what God is wanting you to move towards and having full faith on that path that he has laid before you, no matter how crazy people say you are. Like the buffalo in the past reading that I just did, where'd all the good people go? I said the buffalo, they charged through the storm. So others can be like, the buffalo is crazy. Why are they running towards the storm? There's a huge storm coming. But then on the other side of it, the buffalo's like, y'all are crazy. I made it through the storm quicker because I ran through the storm and I faced the storm. So there's a lot of people here who did not want to face the storm. They did not want to face the music. They didn't want to believe you. They wanted to make fun of you, poke behind the scenes. So now when a roaring group of new people come in and initially support you and appreciate you off the bat, it really points out how stuck on stupid all the past people were. So there's that. Some people are learning that. Also is hearing penny, pennies, pennywise, Penelope, Pandora, Pandora's box, Peter, any like names like that, Pete. I was also hearing every kiss begins with K, so maybe something about jewelry. Maybe someone could be getting a ring. 444 and 777 are really prominent numbers right now. 4 is all about peace, harmony, building a solid foundation. It's about balancing yourself and mastering yourself, which mastering yourself is how you go to the next level, because God is not going to hand you something that you are not sturdy enough and capable enough and responsible enough to hold. So if he thinks that you're not sturdy enough, then he'll make things kind of rock you and shake you so that you become more resilient and stronger, so that you are fit to carry what he wants to bestow to you. I was also hearing in broad daylight again, so someone is seeing something in broad daylight. Also a copperhead, snakes. Someone here is waiting their turn, they're waiting their turn, and then before they know it, it's like green means go. It's like you're going through. It's like you could be pulling up to a stoplight and you think that this stoplight is going to go through a red and a green cycle 10 times before it's your turn. And before you, like, it only goes through like 1 or 2 turns and then, you're up. So someone here feels like they've been waiting for a really long time, but as soon as they're out of the waiting, then something is going to just get going. Also, if working out recharges you, then why would you only do it 3 times a week? Or even why would you do it only once a day? I was thinking this earlier. A lot of people are like, Valerie, how do you have so much energy to do, all your jobs, all your things that you do? And I think about it, and I heard this quote the other day, and I was like, that's why. That quote is why I have the energy, because I usually work out twice a day, but sometimes 3 times a day, even if it's just, walking my cat or something, or going on a walk myself, between things. It's like I lift my weights, I cycle, I'll dance, and I come back to work after that so recharged, so refreshed, and I end up working 7 days a week, really the entirety of the day. But because I break it up with these activities and being outdoors in between, it revitalizes me, it recharges me, and it keeps me healthy. Like it's simple, actually. It's what keeps me going. It's why I'm able to produce. It's kind of one of those things where if you don't use it, you lose it. So it's like A, couldn't afford to not, but B, I wouldn't want to not work out that many times. So someone here, if you're really tired, you're really exhausted, you need to work out more. It's that simple. You're tired because you're not working out more. You're not being more active. So it's like you gotta tune into that. Also, the other quote that I loved is by Martin Luther. He said, I have so much to do today that I have to pray for at least 3 hours. And that's the other thing I was thinking. When I'm walking, that is my time talking to God in prayer. When I am cycling long distances, that is again a time when I get so locked into conversation and prayer with God. That is one of my favorite times. When I'm on the back of my horse, it's like riding is one of those times that I connect with God. Walking in nature, playing my harp, these are all times when I'm in prayer. So being in prayer for 3 hours does not have to look like just sitting there with your hands together in prayer. It's different for everyone. It can be painting a painting. It can be writing a song on your instrument. It can be running, it can be any of those things. It can be journaling. It can be, again, whatever it is for you, but there's something here about exercising more and also spending 3 hours in prayer a day and asking yourself what that looks like to you, what the prayer is to you. Now, I mentioned the Prodigal Son song by Coda the Friend in the last reading, Where'd All the Good People Go? And I didn't say the lyrics that I wanted to say from it, which he says, I'm making peace with all that I decided, even if it led to my demise. I took the heat 1,000 times, dropped straight from the sky, but they're amazed how I mountain climb. So someone here, again, has faced the heat 1,000,000 times. They made decisions. They feel like, well, I am where I am because of my decisions. I fudged up, but I guess it led me here. It led to my demise. But there's an energy here where, again, Carl Jung quote, which I said in the last one, no tree can reach heaven whose roots do not stretch down to hell. It is necessary for people to meet their shadow aspect, for them to integrate and for them to walk through, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I do not fear, for he is with me. So there's an energy here of that's how you really get to know yourself, when you actually go to those depths and you don't shy away from them like the other animals. When you face them like the buffalo and you head into the storm, you get through the storm so much quicker and you build that relationship with God. We have a relational God, kind of like our nervous system. So many people in the world today have issues with, their relationships with themselves, with all sorts of things, because their immune system is all sorts of out of whack. Their nervous system is all sorts of out of whack. It's not going to be fixed by just some simple diet this or take this magic, whatever. It's like, it doesn't work like that. You have to get the organism to be in a place where it can even be responsive to what you're providing it. So if it can't even respond because it's in a constant state of reactivity, how are you going to get that right? And to me, it's all God. It's all God. It's time with God in prayer. And for me, that prayer looks like with the horses. For me, prayer looks like playing my harp and channeling God through me. For me, prayer looks like taking my cat on hikes and walks. For me, prayer looks like slacklining. For me, prayer sometimes does look like just sitting in a typical meditative seat. But I do honor that for hours a day, and that's also why I genuinely believe I've been granted so much healing in so many areas in my life, because I am faithful to that. So again, it's funny when other people would try and say, someone is or isn't a certain way, because the proof is in the pudding. It shows, your faith shows in how you're living and walking your life. Bless you.